everyone. This is the reporting of Group 9 in the topic legal and intellectual property issues. Before we start, may I call Marta Hoson for opening prayer.
Okay, let's pray po. Sa ng Ama, ng Espiritu Santo. Lord, maraming salamat po sa araw na to. Sana po gabayan niyo po kami sa pagre-report at sana po magtagumpay ang aming report ngayong araw at maging maganda po ang flow ng aming report. Salamat po, Lord.
So before we start, allow us to introduce ourselves. I am Pati Palacio, the leader of this group.
I'm Kate Marta Eswason.
Cinderella Fajardo.
MISMS Buticario.
I'm Kashika Francisco.
So let's start in the legal considerations.
We start with legal considerations. With a flourishing economy, the Philippines offers great opportunities for investments and business development. With the Philippines' strong economy, naging great place siya for business and investment. Thanks for fast growth. Ang dami nating skilled workers, low cost na business friendly at mga friendly na policies. Maraming local at foreign investors na na-attract at nag-start sila ng business dito. Because of these different sizes of enterprises have been set up across the country. Choose a business structure. Any business requires to obtain the necessary licenses and certificate of registration before it can be completely operational. Before a business can fully operate in the Philippines, it must get the right license and registration. Yung structure ng business dapat nakadepende siya sa size and resources mo. Ito yung main types, yung sole proprietorship. Ito yung simple lang. Hindi naman sa cheap, pero ganun na nga. And partnerships, which are easy to form and have growth potential. Corporations, which have different types of depending of how they operate. And cooperatives, which are member-owned and follow special rules. Yun lang po for my part.
So next is about business registration. These are required to register with several government agencies and get business permits from the local government unit where they prepare their business to be situated. Single proprietorship. The business should apply for a business name and get registered with the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI. First, you need a copy of government issues ID, a duplicate proposed business name registration form, payment of registration fees, fixed or territorial base with documentary stamp, tax, complete employee data form, copy of municipality permission letter, community tax certificate, location and barangay clearance, fire safety and electrical inspection certificate, occupancy certificate, and building permit, contract or lease if any partnership or corporation. So pag single proprietorship ka, ang business mo, mas simple ang proseso kumpara sa corporation. Pero mas kailangan mo pa rin sundin ang mga tamang hakbang sa pagkuha ng business name, clearance, permit, at certificate para maging legal ang operasyon ng negosyo mo. So next slide po is partnership or corporation. The specific list of SEC registration requirements differs based on the type of business entity to register in addition to the nature of activities and type of enterprise to undertake, but is a general requirement to undergo the following process to obtain certificates of registration. First, secure unique business name. A business name can be registered online service portal. Uh, number two is accomplish an application form SEC. 3. Draft the necessary documents required and have these notarized for the specific business entity you plan to register, which are as the follows. First is Article of Corporation and Bylaws, Treasurer Affidavit, deposit the minimum paid up capital requirement. 5 is obtain necessary license or permits from appropriate government agency for regulated industry sectors and business activities. So, ito yung registration bago ka makapagsimula ng negosyo. Iba-iba ang requirements depende sa type ng business mo at sa industry kung saan ka papasok. Pero may general step kung kailangan sundin para makuha ang certificate registration mula sa SEC. Katulad na nga po yung mga sinabi ko na 1 to 5. And then sa homeowner clearance naman po is homeowner clearance, barangay clearance. A homeowner clearance is obligatory if the business will function within the village or subdivision. The business must obtain a barangay authorized and get a community tax certificate or CTC. The clearance must be taken from the barangay hall where the business is located. The fee for the barangay clearance ranges between 300 to 1,000 pesos. So bago po kayo kailangan niyo pong kumuha ng clearance sa barangay ninyo para at magbabayad din po kayo may bayad din po yun pag kukuha niyo ng clearance. Katulad nga po sa video, it is 200 to 1,000 pesos. So next slide po.
So, hi, I'm audible po ba?
Yes po.
So, good afternoon. Today, I'll be reporting about business license and mayor's permit. So, isa sa mga pinaka-importanting documents na kailangan sa isang negosyo para makapag-operate ng legal. So, unang-una, ano nga ba ang business license? So, ito ay isang official permit na binibigay ng local government para sa mga business na gustong mag-operate sa isang lugar. And sabi, ang business license is an official permit issued in a local government. It allows us to individuals or companies to legally cooperated within the government's jurisdictions. So para siyang go signal from the city or municipality na nagsasabing okay na siya, okay yung negosyo mo, basta sumunod ka sa rules and regulation. Next is a mayor's permit. So a mayor's permit is also known as a business permit, is issued by the local city or municipal government. It certifies that your business complies with the local laws and ordinance. So ang business permit is tinatawag din siyang business permit. It issues by the office of the city or municipal mayor. So, kailangan niya i-renew every year. Usually, ito yung mga proof na sumusunod ka sa mga health and sanitation like fire at zoning regulations sa local government mo. So, para makakuha ka ng mayor's and license permit. Sa next slide, ito yung mga kailangan mong kunin. So this is the list for requirements for getting an business license mayor's permit in the Philippines. So first is the application form. So ito yung pinakauna since kailangan natin mag-fill out ng form from the business permits. So ang licensing office like BPLO, dito nakalagay yung mga basic info about sa business natin. Next is the certificate of registration. So dito naman depende to sa may type of business. Yeah. So depende siya sa type of business. Kung sole proprietorship or kukuha ka ng DTI, while kung corporation naman or partnership yung company, yung business mo, sa CSE ka kukuha. And the last is kung cooperative naman siya, you need to go to CBA. In the third, in our list, barangay business clearance, kailangan kumuha ng permit mula sa mga barangay kung saan located yung business mo. Proof na ito yung aprobado ng barangay and ang operation ng business mo. Ang fourth is community tax or CTC or CEDULA. For the CTC or CEDULA, ito yung tax na or document na kinukuha naman sa City Hall or munisipyo. Part din ito ng legal requirement. So mahalaga ito dahil ito yung magsisilbing backbone ng company mo. So the fifth was contract or lease or title. Kung dito naman kung rented yung lugar or kailangan ng lease contract. Kung ikaw yung may-ari, kailangan mong ipakita yung transfer of certificate of title, ganun. And the number 6 is sketch or pictures of business location. We need 3 copies. Why? Because usually 3 copies para makita ng LGU kung saan ka mag-ooperate at kung safe ba yung lugar ng business mo. The 7 was public liability or insurance. So, ano ba? So, restaurants, malls, cinemas, at iba pang public establishment. Pero, hindi required sa sari-sari store at karinderya since puro lang siya, public liability. Ayun yung pinaka-keywords. So, the 8 is locational zoning or clearance. Yeah, tama. So, locational zoning clearance, proof na yung business mo ay nasa tamang lugar at hindi siya lumalabag sa mga zoning laws and city or municipality. The 9, this is certificate of occupancy. This proves na safe and legal naman yung gamitin yung building or unit na pagpapatuyuan ng business mo. And the 10th was building permit and electrical inspection certificate. So dito naman para ma-check kung sumusunod sa standard ang building at electrical setup. It is way to safety purposes para may mga instances kasi na pag ito yung delikado siya, maaaring maano yung business mo maging delikado. So the 11 and the last is sanitary permit. So galing naman to sa may health office. Dito naman tinitingnan nila kung malinis, maayos at safe sa customers, lalo na kung may mga food related yung business mo. So the last one is fire safety inspection certificate issued by the Bureau of Fire Protection. So dito naman is tinitingnan nila kung may fire extinguish exit, kung ligtas ba yung sunog ang yung place mo. So, wait. So, bakit nga ba importante lahat ng ito? So, importante siya kasi without it, your company will consider as illegal. Or business mo is magiging illegal. Pwede kang ma-penalize or ma-shutdown at mawalan ng credibility sa customer if you don't have this requirements. So that's all for my report.
So, registering a business with a BIR gives the authority to print the official recipients and invoices, formally register the tax identification number or TIN provided for the company in the certificate of registration issued by SEC, and register the books of accounts required to annually register with BIR to serve as official record of the business transaction for the fiscal year. Register the company with the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR district office the authority to print invoice and book of journal. This task is vital in deciding for applicable taxes, paying the annual registration fee, and the acquiring of stamping of sales invoices, recipients, and books of accounts. So, kapag magre-register ka ng business sa BIR or Revenue of Internal Revenue, malaga ito para magkaroon ka ng authority to print ng official recipients at invoices. Ma-register formally ang tax identification number or TIN ng kumpanya na galing sa SEC, Certificate of Registration. Ma-register ang books of accounts katulad ng journal, ledger, etc. na kailangan every year para sa official record ng transaksyon ng business mo. So, ito yung step-by-step process. First is apply for sales invoices official recipients through BIR Form 1906, authority to print recipients and invoices. The documentary requirements for obtaining such are as follows. A is BIR Form 1906 or authority to print. So, kailangan mo mag-apply for and supplementary commercial recipients and invoices. Sample ng isang resibo or invoice, kailangan malinaw at finalize ang design ng principal at supplementary recipients or invoices. So, next is certificate of registration ng accredited printer or patunay na yung printing shop na pipiliin mo is accredited ng BIR. So, next is BIR Form 0605 ng accredited printer. Ito ay patunay na bayad nila ng kanilang annual registration fee. So, next is job order. Ito ang agreement na order mo sa printer para i-print ang recipients or invoices mo. So, last is quarterly report ng accredited printer. Report ng printer sa BIR nagpapakita ng mga clients nilang pinagawa nila ng resibo or invoices. So, bakit ito mahalaga? Malaman ng BIR kung anong taxes ang applicable sa business mo, makakabayad ka ng annual registration fee, magre-register ka ng books of accounts na gamit bilang official records ng business transaction mo kada taon. So, next topic po.
Tinig po ba ako?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay po, thank you po. Wait lang po. So, good afternoon everyone. Today, I will report about the topic registering books of accounts sa BIR. So, once na nakaregister na ang business mo sa BIR, ang next step ay iparegister at ipastamp ang books of accounts sa RDO kung saan nakaregister ang business mo. Usually, during the initial taxpayers briefing, sasabihin ng BIR examiner kung anong klaseng books at taxes ang applicable sa business mo. So, Now, ano-ano ang mga documentary requirements na kailangang i-submit para ma-register ang books? Una, kailangan mo ng BIR Certificate of Registration or Form 2303. Then, kailangan mo rin mag-submit ng new sets of book of accounts tulad ng General Journal, General Ledger, Cash Receipt, Cash Disbursement Book, Subsidiary Sales Journal, Subsidiary Purchase Journal. These books are very important kasi dito mo rin i-record lahat ng financial transactions ng business mo. And part to ng compliance. Yun lang po. Salamat po.
Good afternoon, everyone. For next part is Bureau of Internal Revenue, which is BIR. The BIR is the government agency in charge of collecting taxes in Philippines. It makes sure that people and businesses pay the right taxes and follow tax rules. And sino nga ba yung mga required para mag-register sa BIR? Ang required to perform BIR registration are sole profit, wait lang, partnership or corporation for freelancer and mixed income earners. And what does BIR do? Ang ginagawa ng BIR is nagko-collect ng income taxes from workers, businesses, and they make sure na everyone files their income taxes returns and give TIN's ID or tax identification number. Para sa mga bagong employees, kung yung employees is wala pang TIN ID, ang gagawin nila is they must fill out BIR Form 1902 and the employer submit it to the BIR office, which is RDO, where the company is registered. And the employee will get their new TIN. And kung yung employee naman ay meron ng TIN ID, ang gagawin na lang nila is i-update na lang nila yung info nila using BIR Form 2305. Kung galing naman to sa different na RDO, yung employee, kailangan nilang mag-fill out ng BIR Form 1905 and isasubmit to sa lumang RDO para matransfer yung TIN sa bago. Next is PhilHealth. PhilHealth Health Insurance Corporation is the government medical insurance agency in the Philippines. Na-create ito under Republic Act number 7875 para matulungan yung mga workers, families to pay for their medical and hospital bills. Ano nga ba yung ginagawa ng PhilHealth? Ang ginagawa ng PhilHealth is to help cover hospital and medical expenses, provide health insurance to employees and their dependents, and minimake sure ng healthcare are ay affordable para sa mga Pilipino. Ang monthly contribution is employee and employer share the cost. Halimbawa sa employee phase, nagbabayad sila ng 50% and sa employer naman, other 50%. Tapos kapag halimbawa, ginamit nila to kasi nagkasakit sila, ganon, ang mangyayari is ma-automatic na deducted siya sa employee's salary. Ano nga ba yung mga dapat ginagawa ng employees? Una is magpi-fill out ng PMRF, which is PhilHealth Member Registration Form, and isasubmit ito sa PMRF para submit the PMRF sa PhilHealth office where the company is registered. Kung member naman na, just provide your PhilHealth ID number. Ano naman ang gagawin ng mga employers? Ang gagawin nila is magsasabit ng PhilHealth Form ER2 and submit ito sa same PhilHealth office where the business is registered. Next. Next is Pag-ibig Fund, also called Home Development Mutual Fund or HDMF, is a government savings program that helps workers para mag-save ng money and get housing loans. Ito ay na-create under Republic Act 7835. Ano nga ba yung ginagawa ng pag-ibig? So, ang ginagawa nila is nagbibigay ng affordable housing and loans para sa mga member. And yung loans naman ay pwede siyang mabayaran up to 30 years. And tinutulungan yung mga Filipinos na magkaroon ng sarili nilang bahay through a low interest saving system. Ang monthly contribution is both employee and employer contribute to the fund. And katulad nga na sinabi ko sa kaninang part is automatically deducted siya from the salary. For employees naman, new employees must registered online through HDMF online membership registration. Ang gagawin nila is kailangan nila ng TIN ID bago mag-register. And pagkatapos naman mag-register, they become official Pag-ibig members na. For employers naman, employers must fill out the members contribution remittance form, which is MCRF, and they must mark new workers as NH, newly hired, and they can submit this manually or online through Pag-ibig portal. Last is SSS Social Security System. The SSS or Social Security System is a government program under Republic Act number 8282, and it's provide financial protection to private employees in case of disability, sickness, old age, death, or other situation na nakapagpatigil sa kanila magtrabaho. Para sa public employees, the equivalent program is GSIS, Government Service Insurance System. Monthly contribution is both employee and employer contribute every month. Employers pay 70% of the contribution and employee pays 30% taken from their salary. Para sa mga employees, kung wala silang SSS number, the employee must registered at the SSS office where the company is registered. And once they get their SSS number, they give it to the employer. Kung mayroon naman na silang SSS number, they simply submit their SSS number sa employer. Para naman sa employers must fill out SSS form R1A, which contains the list of new employees and their SSS number. The form can be submitted online or the SSS office where the company is registered. That's all po for my part. Thank you.
Hello po. Rinig po ba ako?
Yes.
So, ito naman po yung next topic ko. Legal mistakes made by startup. So, kapag nagsisimula po yung bagong negosyo, sometimes humaharap yung mga may-ari sa mabigat na mga hamong legal or pangnegosyo. So, narito ang ilan sa mga karaniwang pagkakamali na legal na nararanasan ng maliliit or palagong kumpanya pa lang. Number 1, not making the deal clear with co-founders. Dapat magkasundo agad ang mga co-founder tungkol sa mga details na kailangang ugnayan sa pagnenegosyo. Kasi kung wala ito, pwedeng humantong sa mga problemang legal tulad ng kaso ni na Zuckerberg at Winklevoss sa Facebook. Ang kasunduang ito ay parang prenuptial agreement sa kasal. Second naman po, not beginning the business as a corporation or LLC. Isa sa unang desisyon na kailangang gawin ng mga founder ay ang legal na anyo ng negosyo. Madalas kasi nagsisimula ng walang payo ng abogado kaya nila nagkakaroon ng mataas na buwis or malaking pananagutan. May iwasan sana kung inayos nila ang negosyo bilang corporation. Pong pa-next. Selecting a company name that has trademark issues, domain name problems, or other issues. Mahalagang magsaliksik muna bago pumili ng pangalan ng kumpanya upang iwas problema sa trademark or domain name. Tinitiyak din nito na ang mapiling pangalan ay pwedeng gamitin. Maaaring lumabag sa trademark ang negosyante kung gagamit siya ng pangalang maaari na ikalito ng mga customer sa pinagmulan ng produkto or serbisyo. Number 4, not conforming with securities laws when with allotting stock to angels, family, or friends. Angels. Kapag hindi sumunod sa batas ukol sa securities, maaaring magdulot ito ng malaking problema sa negosyo at sa mga founder. Maaaring obligahin ng kumpanya na ibalik ang puhunan ng mga investor kahit na nagastos na ang pera. Mayroon din possibility na multa or parusang legal. Kaya mahalagang kumuha ng bihasang abogado para maayos ang pagbebenta ng mga shares ayon sa batas. So, number 5. Not sufficiently considering impartial stocks considerations. Ang mga startup ay kailangan maging maingat sa mahalagang issue sa buwis na may kinalaman sa kanilang negosyo. Kung walang maayos na pagpaplano, maaaring mapanagot ang mga founder o kumpanya na hindi inaasahang buwis, multa, at parusa. Number 6. Not having the right legal counsel. Madalas, kumukuha ang mga startup ng hindi gaanong bihasang abogado. Karaniwan ay kaibigan, kamag-anak para makatipid. Ngunit ito ay maling hakbang dahil nawawala ang oportunidad na makakuha ng tamang payo mula sa eksperto. Mas mainam kung kukuha ng abogado o law firm ay may parang experience na sa legal na usaping negosyo. Number 7. Not keeping correct corporate and HR documentation. Madalas, nagiging pabaya yung company sa pag-iingat ng corporate or HR records. Kaya nagkakaroon ng problema kapag kailangan nila ng subaybayan yung pondo o humarap sa reklamo o kaso mula sa empleyado at o ahensya ng gobyerno. Number 8, pwede pong connect. Connect po. Not prudently considering intellectual properties issues. Kung ang may-ari ay nakabuo ng natatanging produkto, technology, or services, kailangan niyang pag-aralan kung paano ito mapoprotect as intellectual property. Mahalaga ito para sa kapakanan ng mga founder at investor ng kumpanya and upang maiwasan din ang paglabag sa karapatan ng ibang tao or company. Number 9, not coming up with a well-written contract. Ang mga startup ay dapat may standard na kontrata para sa pakikitungo sa mga customer at iba pang katuwang. Bagamat maaaring iakma ang kontrata sa iba't sitwasyon, mahalagang simula sa maayos na template, dapat malinaw dito ang simpleng detalye gaya ng product or service or price and date ng bayad. Parusa kung hindi makabayad sa time and process ng pag-aamyenda sa naging kasunduan. Not having a good terms of use agreement and privacy policy for the company's website. Ang terms of use agreements ay naglalatag ng mga condition at tuntunin para sa paggamit ng isang website. Ang privacy policy naman ay isang legal na pahayag na nagsasaad kung paano gagamitin o ibebenta o ibabahagi ng may-ari ng website ang personal na impormasyon na ginagamit ng mga gumagamit at customer sa mga third party. Number 11. Not using a good form of employment agreement or offer letter when hiring employees. Madalas, mag-cause ng wrong accusation ang mga verbal na kasunduan. Kung ang may-ari ay magtatalaga ng bagong empleyado, dapat siyang gumamit ng maingat na nakasulat na offer letter. Dapat hikayatin ng mga applicant na basahin muna at intindihin bago pirmahan. Ang isang magandang offer letter or employment agreement ay kailangan maglaman ng complete details ng trabaho para malinaw sa kanila at makatarungan. Siyempre. Not demanding all employees to sign a confidentiality and invention assignment agreement. Binabayaran ng mga company ang mga employee para gumawa ng mga idea, product at invention na makikinabang ang negosyo. Dahil may access sa mga employee sa mahalagang impormasyon ng kumpanya, lalo na sa mga teknolohiyang kumpanya, isang paraan para maprotektahan ito ay ang paggamit ng confidentiality at invention assignment agreement. Ang kasunduang ito ay tinitiyak na ang mga idea at invention na nauugnay sa negosyo ay pag-aari ng kumpanya, hindi ng empleyado at pinoprotektahan ang pagiging lihim ng information. Next po, asking interview questions that are banned by law. Bawal ang mga batas na gawing batayan sa pag-hire ng mga employee ang mga protektadong kategory tulad ng age, religion, kondisyon sa health, pagkakaroon ng aresto o kaso, kapansanan, sakit o political na affiliation, ang pagtatanong ng hindi tamang mga katanungan ay maaaring magdulot ng reklamo ng discrimination laban sa company kahit na hindi batay sa mga ito ang desisyon. And last, not taking the correct steps before firing an employee. Ang pagtatapos ng serbisyo ng isang empleyado kahit na at will employee ay may kasamang legal na panganib kung hindi ito maayos na handle or naiitala ng tama. May mga batas na nagbabawal sa pagtatanggal ng empleyado batay sa color, nationality, or yung lahi nila, kasarian, edad, kapansanan, katayuang marital, relihiyon, orientasyong sexual, hindi pa. Yun lamang po. Salamat po.
So next is the topic I discuss is about the type of intellectual property. So intellectual property of Simplify IP is a type of property that comes from the product of mental effort and usually composed of copyrights, trademarks, patents, and trade secrets. Industrial design and geographical indication or applications. Industrial design and geographical indications or applications can also be considered as IP. So, hindi ko na po babasahin lahat. So, ang intellectual property po is, ito po yung tumutukoy sa mga ari-arian na bunga po ng talino, ng pagkamalikhain or artistic at mental na paggawa ng tao. Isa po itong uri ng di nahahawakang ari-arian na kailangang protektahan ng batas sa Pilipinas. Ito po ay pinangangalagaan ng Republic Act 8293 or kilala bilang Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines upang hikayatin ang mga inventor, mga writer at mga negosyante na lumikha ng mga at magbahagi ng kanilang mga obra at imbensyon. Una po is may mga part po siya. First po is copyrights and related rights. So in the Philippines, copyright protection is automatically granted upon creation of a literary, scientific or artistic work, books, music, films, software. The creator has exclusive rights to use, reproduce, or share the work. This protection lasts for the creator's lifetime plus 50 years after death. For joint works, it extends 50 years after the last author's death. So, ang copyright po or ang related rights ay tumutukoy sa legal na protection na ibinibigay po sa mga lumikha po or sa mga writer ng mga akda, pampanitikan, pangsining gaya po ng mga libro. Sa Pilipinas po, ang copyright ay automatic kung nagbibigay sa isang tao sa sandaling malikha ang sa isang akda po. Ibig sabihin, hindi na kailangang magparehistro para magkaroon ng karapatan sa gawa. So, ang may akda po, eksklusibong karapatan, gamitin, kopyahin, o ipamahagi ang kanyang gawa. Maaari niyang payagan o ipagbawal ang ibang tao sa pagkopya o pamahagi nito. Ang proteksyong ito ay tumatagal habang buhay. Ang may akda ay may karagdagang pang 50 years na pagkatapos ng kanyang pagkamatay kung ang akda ay ginawa ng higit na sa So, ito na po yung continuation po ng aming report. So, ang ano po is trademark. So, trademark and service marks is legally protects logos, words, or symbol that identify the source of goods or services in the Philippines. TM is used for pending application and R for registration ones. They help business to prevent imitation and can be licensed or franchise. Example include Goldilocks, National Bookstore, and registration takes 6 to 18 months and involves varying government fees based on classification and features like color. So, ang trademark po ay nagsisilbing pagkakakilanlan po ng isang produkto or serbisyo, hindi maaaring gamitin ng iba ang parehong logo or tatak para kumita o makapandaya. Maaari rin itong pagkakitaan sa pamamagitan po ng franchise o license. So, next po is geographic indication. Refers to sign that indicates a product specific geographic origin and its associated quality or characteristic. For example, champagne from France or Barako coffee from the Philippines. GLS protect the unique reputation and qualities derived from the products of geographic location. So, ang geographic indication po is isa po yung isang pangalan o simbolo na ginagamit para sa produkto na galing sa isang particular na lugar. Ibig sabihin, may espesyal na quality or reputation ang produkto dahil sa tradisyon o skills ng mga tao doon. Halimbawa na lang po yung example dyan is yung champagne po from France, Batangas Barako coffee from Batangas. So, bakit nga po ba ito mahalaga? Kasi, hindi ito basta-basta pwedeng gamitin ng ibang lugar. Ang pangalan, protection ito para sa mga produkto ng isang lugar na kilala sa ganyang quality po na pinagbebenta nila. So, ang next naman po is industrial design. Are legal protection from the visual design of objects including their shape, patterns, or colors. This can apply to a wide range of products from fashion to industrial goods in the Philippines. An industrial design is registered for 5 years and can be renewed twice each for an additional 5 years, ensuring that no one else copies the design. So, ang industrial design naman po is ito po yung itsura ng isang bagay. Pwedeng 3-dimensional tulad ng shape ng bote o 2-dimensional tulad ng pattern or kulay ng tela. Saan nga ba ito ginagamit? So, ginagamit siya tulad sa mga furniture, kotse, alahas, appliances, at fashion. Halimbawa na lang po is unique na design ng sapatos, cellphone o bag. So, may protection din po ito. Kapag pag ito po yung nahirehistro, ikaw ang may karapatang gamitin lamang po yung design na naisip ninyo. Valid po ito ng 5 years at pwedeng i-renew ng 2 beses, maximum of total of 15 years. So, next po is patents. A patent gives investor exclusive rights to a new product, process, or technical solution. To qualify, the invention must be new, inventive, and useful in industry. Patents prevent others from making, using, or selling the invention for 20 years from the international filing date. So, ang patents po is ito po yung karapatan na nagbibigay sa isang inventor para sa bagong imbensyon, pwedeng makina, chemical, proseso o paraan ng paggawa ng isang bagay. May 3 different kinds of patents namely is first is utility patents. Pag sinabi pong utility patents, para po ito sa mga bagong machine, proseso or chemical. Pag sinabi naman pong design patents, is para naman po ito sa itsura o disenyo ng isang bagay. Pag sinabi naman pong plants patents, ito naman po yung para sa bagong klase ng halaman na nagre-reproduce ng asexual o hindi sa buto, kundi sa pagputol o pag-graft po. So, next naman, gaano po pala katagal ang patent? So, tumatagal po ang patents ng 20 years ang validity mula sa filing date. Habang may patents ka, bawal gamitin o ibenta ng iba ang imbensyon mo nang walang permiso mo. So, next naman po is layout design or topographies of integrated circuits. So, refer to the unique three-dimensional agreement of elements is an integrated circuit or IC. This design are protected by law to prevent unauthorized use in the commercial production. The protection offered to this design is easier and less costly to obtain than patents, with fewer requirements involved. So, ang layout design or topographies of integrated circuits is ito po yung tumutukoy sa three-dimensional na design na ginagamit sa paggawa ng mga integrated circuits o ICS para po siyang blueprint. Ito po ay nagsasabi kung paano aayusin ang mga parts sa loob ng IC. Ang may-ari ng ganitong design ay may karapatan na pigilan ng iba na gamitin ito. Kung wala silang pahintulot, mas madali at mas mura ang pagkuha ng proteksyon para sa ganitong design kumpara sa regular na patent. Ayon po sa Republic Act circuits. First is an industrial design. Pag sinabi po natin ang industrial design, ito po yung disenyo na may mga linya, kulay, hugis na ginagamit sa produkto o handicraft na nagbibigay ito ng kakaibang itsura o anyo sa produkto. Pag sinabi naman po natin integrated circuit, ito naman po yung isang produkto na may electronic function kahit nasa intermediate o final form basta may active na element po at mga connection sa loob ng isang material, magagamit po ito. Pag sinabi naman pong layout design o topography is ito naman po yung three-dimensional layout ng IC. Kung baga po, ito po yung plano kung paano ilalagay ang mga component at wiring sa loob ng IC. So, next naman po is the protection of undisclosed information safeguards confidential info that has value due to its secrecy. This protection is crucial for sensitive data that could significantly benefit or harm a country such as trade secrets or government-related confidential matters in the Philippines. Undisclosed information is protected by the law to prevent misuse and preserve national interest. So, pag sinabi naman po natin protection of undisclosed information, ito naman yung pinaprotektahan ng batas kung mapunta ito sa maling kamay. Pwedeng makasama sa bansa, kaya karaniwan hindi ipinapaalam po sa media at pinag-uusapan lamang sa closed door meeting. Sa Pilipinas po, ang proteksyon sa ganitong impormasyon ay mahalaga dahil ito ay maaaring magdala ng malaking benepisyo o problema sa bansa. Kaya binibigyan ito ng espesyal na protection bilang bahagi ng intellectual property or IP po. Yun lamang po sa aking part. Thank you. Next part po is
So next po is common mistakes to avoid with intellectual property. So intellectual property has abundance of benefits for startups and getting sorted out will help a business to achieve. However, a lot of startups fall to utilize IP to their advantage. Here are some of mistakes committed against IP which needs to be avoided. Assuming IP is unimportant, one of the biggest mistakes an entrepreneur might to do is to think that IP is not vital. Before a business starts, its IP rights must be in the place. The process is long that is impossible to accomplish once the business is already operating. It is also costly, especially when faced with legal issues. Other business might even be using the entrepreneur's product, designs, or names, and to sort this out is quite difficult. As soon as the business or product idea is created and the possibility that the plan will work, an entrepreneur should start preparing its intellectual property. Not doing Not doing sufficient research is essential to protect the intellectual property of an entrepreneur against other business people. IP is a guarantee that the business idea would not be copied or stolen for a long period of time. Proper research is an assurance also that the entrepreneur will not breach others' IP rights. So, hurrying through the process, many startups put off their businesses in a hurry that less attention is paid to the whole process. The process of starting a business together with the IP process cannot be completed overnight. The IP process can be expensive and difficult. Waiting very long on the other contrary, an entrepreneur cannot think about the IP issues for a long time, especially with the business has started. Protecting the IP must be done immediately as soon as the business idea is ready. Using DIY approach, legal proceedings, and the processes in, in putting up a business is available in the internet. Making use of this online information may save money, but they do it yourself is not applicable when it comes to IP. Still, expert opinion is important, especially for complicated details about business. Some of these problems may include, so next po, the snake of checking out names in the internet and assume the business names can be registered but sometimes they are cannot. So next is signing the wrong contracts even if at the start the business may appear to be informal, still the owner must guarantee that he is operating the business formally. The IP should be part of the agreements to be made with employees and partners. So next is forgetting about trade secrets. Being in a hurry to start an idea and put into business while still employed might lead to be entrepreneur to commit criminal liability for breach. The entrepreneur might utilize trade secrets of his former employer such as customer list, management strategies, and the use of computer software. Using open software and open source, while is economical for startups, may not prove to be effective in the long run. With open source, an entrepreneur might release the source code to competitors, hence filing for IP would be impossible. So, sa first po, isa sa pinakamalaking pagkakamali ng mga negosyante ay hindi pagbibigay ng halaga sa IP bago pa magsimula ang isang negosyo. So, dapat nakakahanda na mga IP rights, mahirap na itong ayusin kapag tumatakbo na ang negosyo. So, pwedeng mahal at komplikado ito lalo na kung may legal na issue. Halimbawa is mga baka ginagamit na pala ng ibang negosyo ang design o pangalan mo. Kaya dapat habang nasa idea stage pa lang at may posibilidad na magtagumpay ang plano, isisimulan mo na agad ayusin ang IP. So sa letter B po is mahalaga ang research para protektahan ang IP mo. So dito malalaman kung may existing IP na kaparehong ng sayo at makakaiwas ka rin sa legal problems. Sa research mo rin malalaman kung may lalabag ka bang ibang IP. So sa letter C po is maraming startups ang nagmamadali ng makapagbukas ng negosyo kaya hindi naaayos ang IP. So hindi overnight process ang pag-aayos ng IP. Mahal at minsan komplikado ito pero kailangan ng sapat na oras at plano. So sa last po is kung may business idea ka na at ready ka na magsimula, huwag ka na magtagal sa pag-aayos ng IP. Baka mahunahan ka ng iba. So kaya magkaroon ka ng problem sa ownership sa huli. So yes, maraming legal info sa internet pero pagdating sa IP, hindi sapat ng DIY at kailangan mo pa rin ng tulong ng expert o abogado lalo sa mga komplikadong aspeto. So next topic po.
So good afternoon. For the last part, I'll tackle about hiring employees. So selecting the right people is crucial for starting a business. A talented team is essential for growth and sustainability. So candidates should be creative thinkers who can contribute to startup success. So unang-una, importante talaga na when companies hire employees, especially sa mga legal and intellectual property related positions, dapat na maayos yung proseso kasi they will handle sensitive info like trademarks, patents, copyright, and even company secrets. So, kapag nagsisimula ng business, especially startup, hindi lang puro ideas ang kailangan. Importante rin yung mga legal na proseso sa pagkuha ng employees, lalo na sa mga IP, includes mga inventions, logo, branding, like contents designing at iba pa. So, for the legal side ng hiring, there should be contracts. Dapat malinaw yung kontrata ng bawat employee dahil nakalagay na dapat ang role or salary, working hours at pinaka-importante is yung clause about IP ownerships. So dapat mahalaga sa una pa lang inaalam mo yung mga contract ng employee mo dahil dito mo naman nalaman kung kapani-paniwala ba yung or kung deserving ba ng trust mo yung employee. The second is non-disclosure agreement or NDA. Kapag may sensitive info ang company, like future products, ideas, or formulas, dapat na pinapapirma yung mga employees ng NDA para hindi siya basta-basta ma-share sa iba. So the third legal side ng hiring is the IP ownership clause, which is kontrata siya na dapat malinaw kung sino yung mga may-ari ng trabaho or sino ang may-ari ng trabaho na yon. Employee, usually kapag ginagawa ito habang nagtatrabaho sila ng company ng may-ari. So the fourth is legal compliance. Sumusunod dapat sa labor laws para iwas kasa sa mga penalties. So this includes giving property benefits, wage, and working condition. So for the second part, let's move on sa mga most recommended na unang i-hire ng isang startup company. Siyempre, hindi agad-agad lahat ng position meron. So usually nagsisimula sila sa mga core team. The first one is the CEO and COO. CEO means Chief Executive Officer. So siya yung pinaka-nangunguna sa business. Ang goal na is nagde-decide siya ng direction ng company, goals and vision. So siya yung pinakamataas and ayan. So the second to the list is product manager. So, product manager means the one who handled all things associated to products. So, ito yung mga nagpo-focus sa mga mismong products na siya yung nagsisigurado na useful nga ba and marketable yung high quality ng product ninyo. Kung may app man or physical product, siya yung may final say, and kung siya yung magde-decide kung ready na ba ito to release. Yeah. And for the third is Chief Technology Officer or CTO. For the Chief Technology Officer, kung tech related yung startup, important ang CTO to to handle tama to handle and to lead so sa tech employees, developers, engineers, and IT. So responsible siya sa innovation and product development sa tech side. So I forgot the COO, which is Chief Operating Officer sa number 1 pala. So kapartner ni CEO nga yung operations. Siya yung nag-organize daily activities ng company and sinisigurado niya na smooth yung proseso sa CEO and COO. The fourth is Chief Marketing Officer. So, siya yung bahala sa mga marketing strategies like branding, social media presence, at overall image ng company ninyo. Kung paano nga ba magiging attractive and product sa market yung specialty niya, and nakakatulong to para maging gain ng supporters and viewers para mapabilis sa may product ninyo. So the fifth was Sales Manager. Concentrate on making new leads and giving in money for the company. Yan. So, hindi lang to tungkol sa pagbenta. Siya rin yung mga naghahanap ng mga bagong customer or clients. Basically, siya yung nagbibigay ng kita sa company through leads and deals. So, imagine, siya yung may hawak ng mga like HR or sales. Yeah. For the sixth, it should be Chief Financial Officer. Sa Chief Financial Officer, money matters. Money matters, si CFO, which is Chief Financial Officer, ang inaasikaso niya is yung finances, budgeting, and accounting ng company, which is sinisigurado niya na may control sa gastos yung mga sapat na pondo yung business ninyo. So, in conclusion, kaya sa isang startup, hindi lang puro ideas at galing yung kailangan natin dito. Dapat may tamang team and tamang legal foundation, especially sa mga pag-hire ng employees, dahil dito natin masisiguro na protected ang business and may mga bagong ideas yung company natin. So, yun lang yung referred to today, and thank you for listening. Have a good day ahead. Thank you.